She did. She just got out of prison after doing like a 3-year stint after she rolled over on her ear for all of this shit.
Damn.
Hey, Cal, welcome to the show.
Hello. Hello.
Howdy.
So, uh, dude, your PM just fucking said the quiet part out loud.
What to the assisted, you know what, Bill?
Yeah, the whole like planned replacement thing with the open borders and
Oh, the open border part. I actually didn't see that part because he literally he was like Canada, where now it's if you are disabled or terminally ill, the government is, if you sign a document, the government can now take you out of your permission.
Yeah.
Like Canada does. And I'm kind of torn on that. I won't lie. I'm very pro-life, but I've also seen family members deteriorate. So if you're like at a certain point, but the open border thing, I'd like to watch with you because I saw a clip of it, but it didn't seem real because he's as left wing as it gets. So it was very hard to believe that was coming out of his mouth, and I've just been a bit occupied recently. So yeah. I'd like to give my thoughts on it. I voted Reform UK to keep it all clear, so I didn't vote for him.
This is just a short clip, but this is the clip of what was said. I think he did this press conference yesterday. I think this is about a day old. Let me know if
I only saw a little bit earlier.
Right.
What the British people are owed is an explanation, because a failure on this scale isn't just bad luck. It isn't a global trend or taking your eye off the ball. No, this is a different order of failure. This happened by design, not accident. Policies were reformed deliberately to liberalize immigration. Brexit was used for that purpose, to turn Britain into a one-nation experiment in open borders. Global Britain. Remember that slogan? That is what they meant. A policy with no support, and which they then pretended wasn't happening. What the British...
He's twisted a lot there, and I'll tell you why. Well, the main reason Brexit happened was to reduce immigration numbers forced to us by the EU. So that's the main reason people voted for Brexit, was to lower immigration. Global Britain was in terms of trade, not open borders. And in 2003, there was a famous lawyer, now knighted, who actually, I believe, started one of the first cases, or the most famous case at the time, to like allow people to seek asylum by immigrating illegally. And that lawyer was Sir Keir Starmer, who actually went against the Labour government, Tony Blair's government at the time, to actually give these people, what's the word? Asylum. I don't there's another word for it, but I can get the official things up. It's something that went around last election, but he fought the Labour government at the time, Tony Blair's government, to change the laws regarding illegal immigration and claiming asylum, and he won. So as a lawyer, he fought for what he just said is bad because of Brexit 13 years after what he did. Well, so he's telling half-truths.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, because you can just tell by how he's worded it, even if you don't know the first thing about this guy's fucking history. The way he's wording this is placing the blame on everybody else but himself.
Robots. And ShooterNet is here, boys and girls.
I'll tell you this now. I've got the so-called facts up by fact checkers. So, I mean, even YouTube can't tell you or me off. Keir Starmer took the government to court in 2003. He represented 5 of 6 asylum seekers who took the government to court in 2003. Mr. Starmer was the barrister representing 5 of these people. He did not initiate or bring the legal action himself, but he took the government to court and won. So he may not have implemented, but he fought for it and got it done out of government because he was a barrister/lawyer at the time. What was claimed was this means today illegal immigrants can be housed in hotels and given benefits, which they actually are today. But this place says the case was about whether or not asylum seekers who didn't claim asylum as soon as they entered the UK would be allowed support from the government in the form of accommodation or financial help, but not access to benefits. So they worded it very funny there too on the fact checkers, because if you're asking for accommodation or financial help but not benefits, welfare benefits, what is financial help and accommodation? Because that's a benefit of a system we pay into and they don't. So I don't get that part. It's a whole lot of nothing. So supposedly they can't apply for universal credit, which is basically social security in the UK. But they were housed in hotels and received financial support in 2003. So he fought for this. He took the Labour government to court for this 13 years before Brexit. And if you search up the main reason people voted Brexit, it was to reduce immigration. So he's told the truth about how this is on purpose, but he hasn't been honest with where it's come from.
Well, my understanding of Brexit was the British people didn't want to be part of a society of like a loose coalition of countries that had open borders like the EU is supposed to be, right? The whole point was to kind of distance themselves from this sort of conglomerate of countries.
The EU would be good as a trading bloc, which is what it was originally made for. So after World War II, they didn't want German domination of Europe, so they made the EU. When you have a look at the EU, the president is German. The main players are German and French. They want to implement a currency to all these countries. They've bankrupted Greece. They've bankrupted many countries, smaller countries, with the euro to only benefit really France and Germany. I think
so. You want to, you want to get into some conspiracy theory shit here, because I actually have a theory about this.
Well, I'd tell you what, they wanted to prevent German domination and created the Fourth Reich. So that's what I think of the EU.
That's exactly what it is. It's because brute force didn't work last time, so they're using economics this time, and it's not even Germany necessarily. Germany's just the fucking front man, right? It's the WEF behind them.
And what nationality is Klaus Schwab?
German.
Very German.
Das ist sehr gut.
Isn't there a bank vault with a ton of freaking like swastika printed gold just chilling in Switzerland? Because
but there are several in Switzerland.
Yeah, I was going to say there might be a few of those there, kid.
And I tell you now, you can't bring up Switzerland. It's not a part of the EU.
Yeah.
We could bring it up as a part of history.
Well, yeah, but
Shadow, it can't.
The EU.
It can't be part of the EU because of their stance on total neutrality. They can't, because by joining an EU, they would essentially be siding with the European Union.
Gotcha.
But it was originally a trading union, and it became political with a European Parliament, and they want a European army, and they want Turkey to join. It's all very mad, and they want Ukraine to join.
Yeah, that's where it gets me. Is like I don't think that I think that publicly on the surface it was originally a trading union. I think that was just the foot in the door, though. I think what they're doing now, even though it's failing spectacularly, which is actually kind of good to see, I think that the way that the EU sort of just became so pervasive was the intent the whole time. I think this Fourth Reich shit was the intent the entire time. They just said it was a trading union in the beginning, just like they said that the NSDAP was just a workers' union in the beginning.
Well, I'll tell you now, the UK never joined the Euro because of Mrs. Thatcher. Mrs. Thatcher did a lot of good and a lot of silly things, but keeping the sterling was definitely a good thing. If we joined the Euro, we'd be like much less of a country and more reliant. But when we left the EU, the reason France didn't want us to leave, and the reason why France are now basically telling all the illegals to go from Calais to Dover, which is France to England, is because they know our system's weak. They know our system gives benefits, the most benefits in Europe to illegals and people who don't even want to assimilate or come legally. It's an absolute mess at the minute. And a good question is, if people can claim asylum and they're fleeing stuff and they can claim asylum, why do they not take a cheap flight, let's say 100 euros from France or Germany to Heathrow Airport and claim asylum when they land off the plane? Why instead are they
because by international law they're required to go no more than 3 local, nonviolent ports. Those 3 countries that are nearest are the ones that can accept them as refugees for asylum, with a couple of exceptions involving island nations and stuff like that, because that gets kind of weird when you try to say what's the nearest port.
Like if there's 4 hostile nations between you and the nearest friendly nation, you can go past those 4 to the 5th nation, which is the friendly one.
That's
You
what I said,
cannot go
friendly
more
port.
than yeah.
But this isn't true in Europe because we have the European Court of Human Rights, which is an off branch of the EU, and we're still a part of it for some reason, and it's the reason we have to accept these people. But what I was going to say is, why don't they spend €100 on a flight from an airport somewhere in Europe, if not their country, to Heathrow? Why instead do they travel through multiple European countries where they can claim asylum and spend €5,000 to take a small lifeboat, chuck all their passports in the ocean, and come that way? Is that so they're undocumented? They don't need to have their passports checked. But if you question this, you're called far right now.
Yeah,